of goods and excess passengers, weeding out of public service vehicles contravening license routes, conducting an anti-drink driving operations, removal of unlawful lights on motor vehicles, verification of NTSA issued licenses including driving licenses, road service licenses, among others, weeding out of unroadworthy vehicles, PSV SACCO compliance assessment. Additionally, 2 weeks ago, we appointed 228 individuals to join the County Transport and Safety Committee to drive enforcement in 38 counties. Appointment to the remaining 9 counties will be done in the coming days once the nominees are submitted to my office. This week, the National Police Service will be appointing the County Traffic Enforcement Officer to complement the work of the County Transport Committee. To save lives and to bring about order in the transport sector, we hereby issue and reiterate the following directives. Number 1, on school transportation. As public engagements on the draft Traffic School Transport Rules 2024 progress, all public schools are required to present their vehicles for inspection to assess their mechanical soundness and their speed limiter functionality by the 1st of May 2024. School transport and vehicles carrying children are restricted to operate between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. And I repeat, we restrict not just school transport vehicles, but also vehicles that are carrying children to operate between, school children to operate between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Number 2, compliance with the Kenya Standard 2295 of 2018. There must be immediate compliance with that standard on maximum road speed limiters for motor vehicles to ensure speed limiters fitted on PSV and commercial vehicles are functional. Limiting speed, storing data, transmitting speed data every 5 seconds, and on board onto the NTSA Intelligent Road Safety Management System. All institutions and companies must present their vehicles for compliance check with the relevant speed limiter vendors within 14 days, failure to which the NTSA issued license will be invalidated. All PSVs, 7-seater and above, and commercial vehicles with tare weight of 3,048 and above be presented for compliance checks with the relevant speed limiter vendors within 30 days, failure to which all NTSA issued license will be invalidated. On the night enforcement, the National Police Service, working together with the National NTSA, shall heighten night enforcement and random checks along major highways with focus on black spots and immediate removal of stalled vehicles at the cost. There must be immediate removal of stalled vehicles, failure to which the government will remove those vehicles at the cost of the owners. On PSV routes, NTSA to immediately cease issuance of new PSV operator routes, review all existing route issued to PSV operators, and issue new routes only upon vetting of the operator. On the short-term PSV license, there is an immediate suspension of issuance of PSV short-term license until completion of all PSV routes review. On illegal PSVs, and you all know that the people we lost today in Angata and the ones we lost last night in Kericho, all of them were not on registered PSV vehicles. They were actually operating on illegal PSV vehicles, the so-called Voxes, Noahs, and Wishes, was it called Wish? And then the other one was is the famous Probox. All these vehicles are now become, in quotes, PSVs, and they are illegal. NPS will impound all vehicles operating without required license, charge the owner and driver in line with the Traffic Act. Anybody operating illegal PSVs. On fatigue, driver fatigue management, drivers must adhere to the 8-hour driving hours as per the regulations. SACCOs whose driver is involved in a crash and is found to have been on the road longer than the stipulated working hours will have their operator license and vehicles insurance suspended. If your driver is driving more than 8 hours, which is the stipulated period, we will make sure that whether or not they're involved in a crash, we will take away your license. But if we find that actually they get involved in a crash and they were operating more than the 8 hours, it is a definite red flag and we will take away your license. On excess passengers, the excess passengers, drivers and conductors, on the exchange passengers in a motor vehicle and also on a motorcycle, drivers and conductors shall be detained and charged. We appeal to the judiciary to mete out the highest possible penalties to traffic offenders, including riders, pedestrians, drivers, and passengers. We also want to confirm here that the excess passengers themselves will be charged. If we find you are in a motor vehicle carrying 14 or PSV vehicle carrying 14 people and you are forcing yourself to sit on one seat with somebody else, you will be charged. So I urge members of public to observe the traffic rules and make sure that when they find that a motor vehicle is full, they should not force themselves to board. No Kenyan is forced to board any motor vehicle. None. Public service vehicle. Actually, to the contrary, we are the ones who force ourselves to inside it. The Probox that got accident in Kericho had 8 people inside it. For a vehicle that is supposed to carry 4 people, it had 8. And sometimes it's more than 8, it is 15, it's 20. And all that people boarding those vehicles voluntarily, overloading voluntarily. And we are saying we will charge you. Forget about the fact that we are saving your life. We will charge you first so that for you to know that your life is also public property for this country. On compliance of transport operators, all transport operators who do not meet the minimum requirements of PSV Regulation 2014, that is minimum threshold of serviceable vehicle, non-compliance with road service license, inspection certificate and PSV licenses, all of them, their operation will cease and they will be suspended. On compliance of speed limiter vendors, there is immediate suspension of speed limiter vendors with low performance in speed management from fitting new limiters gadgets until the assessment of NTSA is completed. However, they will be expected to maintain 100% compliance on vehicles already fitted with their limiters. What we are saying is that we want to deal with where it hurts most for the speed limiters, vendors of speed limiters, by ensuring that we deny them the right to continue selling their speed limiters until the checks are done, and if they are found to be culpable, they will be suspended. But even after that, they will still continue servicing the vehicles that already have speed limiters. On Boda and pedestrian safety, county governments and National Police Service will enforce all relevant sections of the Traffic Act to ensure compliance and safeguard the lives of Boda riders, billion passengers and pedestrians. You know, up to now we have lost about 470 pedestrians, and we have lost almost 105 billion passengers and another 300 motorcycle riders. And those are the ones accounted for. And you know, in some parts of the country, especially rural areas, some are not accounted for. And then now some of the pedestrians, the 470, almost half of them as a result of the recklessness of the Boda riders. The Boda riders are contributing to, in that figure, you are talking about, as we speak now, almost 600 people dying because of recklessness of Boda riders. This is a very serious issue. And this is a devolved function. We want the county governments to designate areas of operation of the Boda riders and require compliance also from them insofar as the law is concerned. Enforcement will be done jointly between the county governments and the National Police Service. On the road agencies, I have instructed all the road agencies, especially the Kenya National Highway Authority, to immediately undertake road markings, install necessary road furniture, and put in measures to remove stalled vehicles. Additionally, we want them to mount speed calming measures and ensure that black spots are attended to. Finally, NTSA should hasten the process of outsourcing of motor vehicle inspection to enhance its capacity in assessing the roadworthiness of vehicles countrywide. What we want to do is that we want to stop inspecting vehicles the way we have been doing, and we want to automate. And to do so, we want the support of the private sector by outsourcing this assignment to a capable private sector. I need to bring this to the attention of the country, that we have been expecting a lot from the National Police Service, particularly the traffic department, yet very little has been done to support them or to resource them. The law enforcement agencies have tirelessly served our great nation, but unfortunately, there is very little investment towards the resourcing the traffic police to undertake this mandate. As the government, more resources will be directed towards enforcement function to address the capacity building, acquisition of equipment, including enforcement devices, and adoption of the latest technology. In the next 2 weeks, His Excellency the President will be based on his direction, will be giving an update to the country on the resources that we are going to give to ensure that the police have patrol vehicles, the traffic police have patrol vehicles, but also from the NTSA side to make sure that we have vehicles that can support enforcement. We will also, the National Police Service will be working together with the Treasury to make sure that resources are provided for training of our traffic police officers. So far, 1,000 traffic police officers have been trained, 1,200, and we need to train others 2,000 plus to ensure that there is enforcement. As I have read, the IG Police is going to, this week, going to appoint county police traffic police enforcement officers that are going to work at the county level. Progressively also, the presence of NTSA is in 17 regions. We're going to enhance that to make sure that there is a coordinator of NTSA in every county to make sure that this enforcement is done. Other services which we are going to engage in is to make sure that there is more awareness that is going to be done. There is more training programs, and we will work together with all stakeholders across the country to make sure that we deal with problems of road safety in the country by changing behavior. I really want to emphasize this as I close, that if most of these problems we are talking about here would actually be averted if we change our behavior as Kenyans. If we accept to follow the rules, if all of us ensure that we don't board a full motor vehicle, if we ensure that we don't board a vehicle that the driver is drunk, if we ensure that we don't use a boda more than one person, if we insist that we must have a helmet. You know, most people say, oh, the helmet is dirty, but which one is worse? Yeah, Is it worse to die, or it's worse to get home when you are feeling that it's dirty, you know? So if you really have to use a Boda, you better follow the rules by making sure that you have a helmet. We will be arresting the passenger also if you don't have a helmet, not just the Boda rider. We will impound all those motorcycles that are not going to comply. I know we did that, and then politics came into play, and you know, everybody, because they want to play nice to their political players, returned some of those motorcycles back to the streets. We want to ensure that that enforcement is done until order is achieved in our country. But we want these things to be done not for me, not in the name of the minister, not for purpose of the glory of the cabinet secretary. It's for posterity and for the good of our country. And I urge all of us to work together to support each other to achieve this objective. This statement is a joint position of the government of Kenya, those who are represented here and those who are not. This is an agreed joint position of the people of Kenya through your government. Asanteni sana. Unless there are questions, we will... just before I take the questions, in the coming weeks, because, you know, so many people are obsessed with cabinet secretary. Every time, everything that happens, where is the minister? You know, people even enter into an overloaded vehicle, and they take videos and pictures and ask, where is Murkomen? He has failed. Murkomen has failed. But he is inside, he himself is inside a bus that is overloaded, and he thinks he has not failed. So I want us to now focus on engaging the institutions that are carrying out enforcement. Our traffic commander is here. She's ready and willing to give you information on the enforcement works that are being done by the police. And the regulator is here. The NTSA is ready. If it is deregistering motor vehicles, companies that are violating the law, if it is providing inspectors to assist the National Police Service in terms of inspecting roadworthiness of the vehicle, the NTSA is going to be here to work. Engage George here, engage Mary here, so that you make sure that these are the people. You don't be too obsessed in getting the minister. Deal with the agencies that are actually dealing with this issue. You know, everybody just like, I want the minister. By the time a problem is getting to a cabinet secretary, you know, we have a long route of people who are engaged in enforcement, and they will tell you day to day what's happening. Of course, the buck stops here eventually when it comes to regulating and matters of transport. And the buck stops also with my colleague of Interior when it comes to enforcement. But that is not what, you should not be looking for someone to blame. You should be looking for somebody to resolve the problem, you know, and work together and assist the police. What happened to the question of getting what is wrong and looking for the police service to see if that can be corrected, or NTSA that can be corrected? I want you to, as the media houses here, to engage more the NTSA, engage more the traffic commandant here and the police officers that she works with on enforcement, to make sure that our country gets better. But if you don't really resist the temptation to degenerate to the political conversation and focus on resolving this problem, which is endemic. By the way, I have statistics here. When I take people, the traffic accidents have been growing continuously. I have here from 2005 all the way to now. They keep just going up continuously every year, you know, and it is an issue that we have not been able to arrest as the people of Kenya, because a lot of it requires our personal behavior and intervention. Now I'll take the questions. I will take from 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, Waziri.
Now that there are no ladies who want to ask a question.
Thank you, Waziri. My name is Francis Okom. I work for KTN News.
Yeah.
My first question is on school bus safety.
Yeah.
And specifically, I want to pose a question about our youngest commuters, those in the kindergarten and the lower school. Increasingly, we are seeing most of these school buses, they lack seat belts. Some of them, even with seat belts, they are not appropriate for the young commuters. And some of these buses are also very crowded. And interestingly, some of them pass through police checks and even roadblocks, and they are not checked. Would you agree that there is a lapse in surveillance to protect our youngest commuters? My second question, my second question is about last year you made...
Let's try to make it 1-1-1. Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Last year you had a commitment about mapping out black spots.
Yes.
And you even went again ahead to give a timeline of 30 days to map out all the black spots across the country. Would you say that you finished mapping out, and you even promised about cameras to be stationed? To be installed.
Okay, sorry, I forgot about the cameras. Right. Thank you.
How far are you with this?
Thank you. I'll take the question so that take them once.
Thank you, Waziri. My name is Kebaso from People Daily. One of the popular suggestions around the country and everywhere on road safety has been to dual the roads to reduce the severity and the number of people who are dying on the roads. Where is this program in this government? Clear and timeline for it. Then number two, a quick one again. Some of those measures you read there, they look like there's a research behind them. If they were to be implemented, at what percentage can you reduce the road damage?
Yes.
Yes, Waziri, my name is Abdiaziz Rashid from KBC. Waziri, last year you started a conversation on retesting all drivers, especially for PSV. Are we likely to see the government going back there through NTSA? And secondly, Waziri, you have not addressed one of the major issues that is causing not to point a finger at police, but corruption.
Okay, thank you. Last one.
Kwa majina naitwa Moses Mokisha from DStv. Swali langu ni kwa hivi visa tumekuwa tukishuhudia, kwa recent tumekuwa tukipanda visa vya ajali. Where is the laxity? Tunaweza sema maybe tuongee shida imekuwa wapi? Hatuoni zile sports ndio mlikuwa mkifanya kama maafisa wale wanaoshughulika na upande wa kuangalia transport, kama hatuoni ule msisitizo ulikuwa, tuseme kama December nikijaribu kuangalia hata idadi ya hivi visa ilikuwa chini sana. Tukakuja January hakukuwa na visa kama Feb ikaanza, na ukijaribu kuangalia kwa zile sport checks tunajaribu kufanya, we find that there's laxity in terms of, I don't know if you can address that in terms of
the laxity.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. First of all, Francis, the question of laxity in the school bus enforcement, it's not just the school buses, it's just as many transport. Many people, as I was saying earlier, have gone back to violating these rules. You know, it's one thing to do the rule, and the other is to enforce. And this enforcement requires, it's both ways. The people who use the transport, the vehicles, and also the police. Although we can't have enough policemen to stop people and enforce them, we have enough Kenyans inside these vehicles who can stop this bad behavior. So it starts with personal responsibility that is on our side. Number two, I agree with you that if you look at some of the vehicles transporting our children, they look like they are very old. They are finished their work with matatu work, and now they are on the road. That's why one of the directives we gave here is that all school vehicles now must be presented for inspection before May 1st. All of them. And we'll make sure that we do our best to weed out the ones that are not roadworthy. But also I request parents, not to accept their children to be dropped using these unroadworthy vehicles. If you look at these vehicles the way they are, and many of these parents are paying, especially you've talked about private schools, they're paying a lot of money to take their children to those schools, and they're paying transport fee, and it's a huge amount. We want to ask parents also to take responsibility, to help us making sure that they reject transport vehicles that are unroadworthy. You've asked the question of mapping out the black spots. Yes, we did, and we've always known where the black spots are. That's why we are stationing enforcement around those black spots. If you look at the recent accidents, most of them have happened after hour, and part of the reason is because after, if you say from 7 to the next day 5 in the morning, and weekends of course because people go drink and then they cause accidents on the road. We've not been able to resource enough the National Police Service and the NTSA to be on the road at night. And that's why we, in the directive we've given, is that we are now trying to put together resources and start with the most serious black spots by having them operating not just during the day but also at night, so that they can help us in these black spots. I know that there is a question that, yes, Kobasu asked about dualing. Dualing is not an easy thing. We have a contract that is ongoing in Gata of dualing, and the contractor has promised that by June. We already awarded, as I promised last year, but the contractor is saying he's going to finish the work by June this year. We are putting him on task to make sure that he has put in place the separators the same way we did in Salga. Those are some of the interventions we are putting in around black spots, and we'll try to do so in the few areas that are actually black spots. But let me say this. All these interventions that we need as a country requires money. It's not, I mean, as a ministry, would be very willing to do as much. Let me give you an example of Nidi Bridge. Nidi Bridge to be realigned, to realign it to become straight so that you don't have that corners. It needs 15 billion. 10 billion for land acquisition and 5 to 6 billion for construction. To construct a tunnel at Nidi Bridge, and I'm telling you these are designs that have been done. To construct a tunnel there, you need 50 billion to do a tunnel to go through. So it's not for the lack of knowledge and ability to do these things. It is, I mean, ability in terms of brain power. It's the resources that we do not have as a country. The problem is that we cannot really provide. So that, therefore, we are requesting drivers to actually just observe the road signs and to drive slowly, because that is what we can afford. We can afford to construct the roads in the manner in which they are, with the corners that they have. And you know, when people if you go to other countries that have a lot of money, they don't go through the climbing hills. They cut tunnels inside the hills because they have the money to do so. We are living within our means, and within that means, we need to observe road. We need to go for the cheaper option, which is observing the road traffic requirements. How far can scientifically, I cannot put figures onto the numbers that are going to reduce. Vehicles are increasing, so ours is to make sure that you reduce it as much as possible. There is no country in the world that is zero accident. That's as a matter of fact. But what countries try to do is to make sure that if there is an accident that happens, it becomes only accident. Not things that are preventable. Not the kind of recklessness that we see in our roads that has very crazy numbers up there, making it difficult for us. Yes, you will be getting the retesting of the motor vehicles had been. Drivers had been suspended for the organizations to arrange themselves. Soon, as I announced recently, we are going to roll out again retesting of all drivers, including medical tests. And we are going to give you the framework of how we are going to do so before any driver can get the license on the retesting. On the corruption is a problem all over. Let me start by saying the person who is tampering with a speed limiter is corrupt. That's corruption. I think many people think that corruption is just only by when there is money, because that corruption is tampering with the speed limit so that they can drive faster to make more money at the expense of people's lives. Corruption also includes overloading. That's a corrupt practice, because you are going against the law. Bribing a police officer or an NTSA officer is corruption. Yeah, and it's two-way. And the person who is bribing the police actually is because he knows that he has violated the rules. The one who doesn't bribe knows that is a good standing, he has a good vehicle and so forth. So it's not, the corruption is there, and it's something we're trying to fight. And it's not only on road traffic issues. Corruption is in contracts, it's in many things, including people who compromise designs or compromise the quality of a road. That is corruption. And that is something that has been a challenge and is still a challenge with us, and we must continue working together to make sure that we deal with it. Certainly the Minister of Interior, National Police Service are doing their part, but it is also demoralizing if we generalize and say all police officers are corrupt. That is not true. Just like we have corrupt people in many other agencies of government, you also have such a few elements in National Police Service, in National Transport Safety Authority, NTSA, and among others. And we, as from a government side, are working hard every time to make sure that there is an accountability. And how are we going to do this? You know that I promised the country that we are going to have speed cameras on the roads, including the black spots. Already we have testing cameras. You must have seen one in Kinungi, Southern Bypass, among Thika Road. They are on the pilot project. Meanwhile, procurement is ongoing, and it's at the tail end. We really believe that in less than 3 months, the contractor will be on site. And we have agreed that once the contractor is identified and comes on site, we want to start with the black spots so that we can put speed cameras on the black spots. That way, we are going to, and these speed cameras are going to operate in such a way that you will have instant fining. Your number plate is going to be captured, and a message is sent to you directly that you pay this amount of money, and the rest is going to be enforcement of that payment. So we are working on that. Unfortunately, Moses, sad as it may sound, and sometimes insensitive as it may sound, the figures of accidents last year and the year before and the year before are almost the same. Almost the same. Although there is, in the first 3 months this year, we've lost 1,400 and, if you remind me, 1,400, and I have the figure somewhere, people. 1,000? 270. Sorry, not 400. 1,270. 1,270. While last year we lost in the same period about 1,160 something, about 160. So the difference is about 100 people. Those are lives, eh? It's not a joke. An extra 100 people. But you will see that in the course of the year, even last year, we were trying to push the numbers to come down, So this month you're happy that it's low, then the next month it's going up. Like, you know, we were happy this weekend, we did a lot of work, our children went home, and there were minimum accidents. And then as soon as that is, you know, the next day, you find an accident. So you have this fluctuation. And then at the end of the year, you end up having, again, similar figures, 4,400, 4,500, 4,600, which has been a figure that has been rotating. 2009 was the worst, actually, with 4,600. And that figure keeps going up and down. And I want to say that we are trying, what our target is to bring the figure down. We may not tell exactly to what figure, but because this is a human being, if we can save one life, that will be a great achievement. But we want to do as much as possible to make sure that we reduce the road carnage. And unfortunately, on the part of the enforcement is availability of resources. You will be shocked the amount of money that is in the National Police Service for training traffic police officers. You give the police 30 million and tell them you train all the police officers. And you know, you have, you know, very limited resources being put into specialized area. What was the last time you saw a 9-9? Like the old days of a police car patrolling the highways to check traffic enforcement. It's a long time ago. You know, in 2018, for example, the former administration removed all the vehicles we had in NTSA, which were helping the police, and none others were bought for the police for them to enhance the capacity they have. So we have a problem. We have a capacity problem, literally. The the traffic police department is not resourced enough. Well, NTSA also is not resourced enough. So we want to see if we can work with our parliament in this upcoming budget to rationalize the budget and make sure that we put money where it deserves. We are so much into, we want to put money where we can get returns. We don't realize that protecting lives of people is a returns. And we need to put more money there in the protection of lives. We need to put money on our roads to complete the stalled roads so that we can mark them. We need to put money to make sure that we realign and redesign the areas that are giving us problems. So we have our, I can't envy the president because his plate is full. You're paying debts which are humongous, and at the same time, there's service that must be given. So let's help each other as a country. Let's also help each other by not crossing swollen rivers. Honestly, you know, I mean, someone is just taking a chance to cross. You are endangering people's lives. And we want to request the DPP to charge these people for the highest offenses. In fact, the drivers who are attempting to cross swollen rivers should be charged for attempted murder, you know, if they survive. It should be that serious. And we ask our also judiciary to meet the highest punishment on traffic offenders, because in most cases, the driver who caused accident in Makueni had been charged more than 3 times and released. Had been arrested, sorry, by the police more than 3 times, and somehow he found his way out and back to the driving seat, and then eventually killed 14 people. This is preventable if we take also traffic offenses as a serious issue. In all over the world, countries take it as serious, and they meet the highest punishment on those who are committing these offenses. I think I have responded to as many questions as possible.
The last one now that the IH is around.
Yeah.
And on those matatus that have small seats, they call
Sambaza in between.
Sambaza.
Yeah.
And then the bribes that police wake up every morning at 5 collecting from matatus.
Yeah.
They are stationed somewhere, they stop a matatu, they pick. You know, passengers, commuters see this, and they look at their country and they are ashamed.
Yeah.
Police standing there and picking 50 shillings, 100 shillings every morning at 5 a.m. What are you going to do?
IG, you want to say something? Yeah, you can say something, IG. Yeah.
Asanti, labda nitazungumza kwa lugha ambayo Wakenya wengi watafahamu. Kwanza waziri, asanti. Ndugu zanguni, tuko hapa kwa sababu ule mwenendo tumechukua hatuwezi endelea hivi. Jana tulipoteza Wakenya 14 kwa siku moja. Juzi wengine 4. Siku nyingine 12 Kenyans. Hatuwezi endelea vile tunaona mambo. Sisi kama kikosi cha polisi tuko na jukumu la kulinda, kuchunga maisha na mali. Hatuwezi tukaa kitako, mali inaharibiwa, wananchi wanafariki kwa sababu ya tabia, just because of the attitude in my driver. Jana tu, juzi, familia moja imepoteza watu 7. Ni kilio kwa hiyo familia. Kwa hiyo ajali ya Ngata, actually the one who survived is my officer. She's fighting for her life in hospital, but she lost 2 of her children. It is painful. We cannot continue this way. And that's why I thank Waziri for convening this session to tell our people enough is enough. Hii tabia hatuwezi endelea vile tunaendelea. Kila siku kupoteza watu 14. Hatuwezi endelea hivyo, nchi haiwezi endelea vile tunaendelea. Na tumekubaliana kama kikosi cha polisi, tutaungana na Ministry of Transport na NTSA. Tutatumia ule uwezo tuko nao kuhakikisha kile kinafanyika sasa akitaendelea. Na maofisa wote nchi zima, they have clear instructions that ambao wako na hii tabia uko kwa barabara, you have no patience, you want to overtake carelessly, you want to drive under the influence of alcohol, you feel the pain. Instructions are very clear, wenzangu. Tusijifiche kwa mambo ati ya corruption. Imeulizwa mambo maswali kadhaa hapa mambo ya corruption. And I'm telling my officers not to be intimidated ati kuelezwa they are the most corrupt. Wafanye kazi. Wengi wenu hapa wana habari na wafahamu, wakati mkipata na shida na polisi mnapigia IG, nisaidie, niachiliwe. Isn't that corruption? I remember just on Saturday, somebody was arrested because of committing a traffic offense at 2:30 a.m. That person, somebody very seen in the society, calling me at 2:30 a.m. to call my officers not to continue with effecting arrests. Of course, I did not call my officers. Don't attempt calling me. I will not intervene. You'll be arrested, go to court, go to jail, or you'll be fined every day. In a nutshell, kile tunasema, Wakenya wenzangu, tuwe na nidhamu kwa barabara zetu. Kuna mvua na tumeelezwa na wenye wataalamu ambao wanahusika na yale yanaendelea, mambo ya mvua, mambo ya anga, wametueleza hii mvua itakuwa nzito. Tujiadhari tukiwa kwa barabara. Jana tu ile basi ilizama kule Garissa. Huyo driver aliambia usivuke, usiendelee na safari yako. But he ignored. Is by God's grace wananchi waliweza kutoka, wale walikuwa kwa hiyo basi waliweza kutoka kwa madirisha. Therefore, as I conclude, Wakenya wenzangu, si vile tulikuwa tumezoea kusema, but police officers, my officers wa NTSA, they work together. It is not business as usual. You feel pain, we are going to inconvenience you because we are the responsibility to ensure you remain alive. Your property is protected. Kwa hivyo usianze kutafuta IG kuniambia ati maofisa wako wanatusumbua, they are harassing us. We must deal with this road carnage. Asante waziri.
Moja kwa moja, huyo ni Inspector General wa polisi Japhet Koome kwa ushirikiano na yeye waziri wa uchukuzi na barabara Kipchumba Murkomen, hii leo wakiangazia zaidi zimwi la ajali za barabarani, ambapo kufikia sasa, jana na leo, zaidi ya watu 30 wameaga dunia. Lakini katika taarifa zetu siku hii ya leo, jina langu likiwa ni Elizabeth Mtuku, na kwenye meza ya lugha ishara akiwepo Catherine Simalowe. Moja kwa moja ni kwa watu 6 wameaga dunia chini ya saa 24 kufuatia mafuriko yanayotokana na mvua kubwa ambayo imeshuhudiwa ama ambayo inaendelea kunyesha humu nchini. Shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu aidha jioni ya leo limetoa tahadhari kwa Wakenya, hususan wanaoishi kwenye maeneo ambayo yameorodheshwa kuwa hatari, kama anavyotuarifu mwanahabari wetu Ruga Ival.
Hawangekosa kumdokezea Maulana dua la shukrani nusra wafariki baada ya dereva wa basi hili aliyebeba abiria wapatao 51 kujaribu kuvuka barabara iliyokuwa imejaa maji. Hata baada ya wenzake kumkanya sidhubutu kuvuka, ikawa ni asisikia la mwathini. Hapa ni kando ya mto Tana kwenye barabara ya Nairobi kuelekea Garissa. Mto Tana ndio mkubwa na mpana zaidi nchini Kenya. Mto huu huwa na upana wa mita kati ya 100 au 200. Mafuriko haya yalitokana na mto huu kuvunja kingo zake. Shughuli za kuokoa abiria na zikaanza. Hakuna aliyepoteza maisha.
All of them have been rescued as for now. We have Red Cross with us and many other agencies.
Hali sawia imeshuhudiwa kaunti ya Kisumu, zaidi ya nyumba za watu 200 zikisombwa na maji kijijini cha Mbenga, huku shughuli za kila siku kama vile masomo zikitatizika.
Tumeshapeleka vilio vya watu wa Mbenga kwa muda mrefu sasa.
Hata hivyo, hali ilikuwa tofauti kaunti ya Narok. Hivi mafuriko yanaendelea kuathiri maeneo mengi nchini Kenya. 4 wamefariki kufuatia maporomoko ya ardhi kijijini Torokiat, Narok Kusini. Yamkini mafuriko hayo hayakusaza maisha ya watu 2 kaunti ya Machakos waliozama majini baada ya kujaribu kuvuka mto Athi.
mafuriko na kwa mvua kubwa ambayo tunatarajia wakati huu. Tumeongea mipango ambayo tumeweka kati kwa kukumbatiana na mvua kali inayokuja. Kwa sasa hivi tunajua watu hule Budalangi kuna wale wametolewa manyumbani kwa sababu ya maji. Na kama county tumejiandaa, tumeanza mikakati ya respond kwa mambo ya wale ambao wameathirika.
Idara ya utabiri wa hali ya anga imeshinikiza kumakinika zaidi Wakenya wanaposafiri, huku kituo cha kitaifa cha kushughulikia operesheni za majanga NDOC kikiwahimiza Wakenya waishio kwenye nyanda za juu kuhama kwa muda. Mvua ya masika inatarajiwa kunyesha hadi mwezi Mei. Ruga Ival, TV47.
Asante sana Ival Rugal kwa taarifa hiyo. Na sasa saa chache baada ya watu 6 kufariki dunia katika ajali ambayo barabarani katika eneo la Kericho, watu wengine 8 wamethibitishwa kufariki kufuatia ajali nyingine ya barabarani katika barabara kuu ya Nakuru Nairobi baada ya matatu na gari la kibinafsi kugongana ana kwa ana na trailer katika daraja la Ngata mwendo wa saa 9 asubuhi ama saa 11 asubuhi Jumanne, kama anavyotuarifu mwanahabari wetu Chichi Josephine.
Ilikuwa Jumanne ya makovu, huko takriban watu 8 wakifariki na mmoja kujeruhiwa Jumanne asubuhi katika ajali mbaya ya barabarani eneo la Ngata kaunti Nakuru kwenye barabara kuu ya Nakuru kuelekea Eldoret. Akithibitisha kisa hicho, OCPD wa eneo bunge la Rongai Wilberforce Sichirai alibainisha kuwa gari la kibinafsi aina ya matatu lililokuwa likisafirisha abiria kwenda Kisii liligongana uso kwa uso na trailer na kusababisha vifo vya watu wazima 6 na watoto 2.
Tumesikitishwa na ajali mbaya ambayo imetokea sehemu hii karibu Ngata Bridge katika barabara hii Eldoret kwenda Nakuru, ambapo imehusisha magari matatu. Gari moja ambalo watu wamepoteza maisha ni gari la kubeba abiria, ni private Toyota Hiace. Watu 8 wale waliokuwa ndani wote wameaka, watu 6 watu wazima na watu 2 ni watoto.
Walioshuhudia tukio hilo walisimulia tukio la kuhuzunisha la kuwatoa waathiriwa kutoka kwenye mabaki hayo, huko mtu mmoja aliyenusurika kifo akikimbizwa katika hospitali ya rufaa ya Nakuru.
Kuna mtu mmoja tu ambaye tumepeleka hospitali PGH na huyo anaendelea na matibabu, tunamwombea nafuu ya haraka.
Tunaona madereva wote kwenye mkiendesha gari tafadhali mteremko ni kali, mjaribu kusika gari zikuwe break up.
Jamaa na marafiki walikusanyika katika hospitali ya rufaa ya Nakuru wakiwa wenye huzuni.
Kuna mtu mmoja ambaye nimembeba kwa gari asubuhi. Ni mmoja kati ya wale abiria ambao wamefariki. Baada ya kumchukua saa 8:30 akawa ako na haraka sana. Basi huyo mzee tukampeana kwa hiyo gari na ndipo hawakwenda mbali kutoka Kolen kwenda Ngata wakawa wamepata ajali.
Haya yanajiri siku moja tu baada ya ajali nyingine iliyotokea mapema Jumatatu jioni kuangamiza maisha ya watu 6 katika eneo la duka moja kwenye barabara kuu ya Nakuru kuelekea Kericho.
Box imekatika mara 2.
Ndani ya masaa 24 watu 14 wamepoteza maisha yao kupitia ajali za barabarani zilizotokea Kericho na Nakuru mtawalia. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Asante sana Chichi kwa taarifa hiyo. Mwaka mmoja baada ya kushuhudiwa maafa katika msitu wa Shakahola kule Kilifi yaliyogonga vichwa vya habari nchini, familia zilizowapoteza wapendwa wao kwenye msitu huo zinazidi kukabiliwa na unyanyapaa pamoja na msongo wa mawazo, huku wengi wakitengwa kutokana na hofu inayozingira tukio hilo. Na hata baada ya serikali kuziruhusu familia zilizoathirika kuichukua miili ya wapendwa wao kwa ajili ya mazishi, familia moja katika kaunti ya Vihiga imekosa namna ya kufika Kilifi kuchukua miili ya wanao 5 ambao tayari ishatambuliwa. Ano Dadidi anauketwa taarifa hiyo.
Katika kijiji cha Kisienya kwenye kaunti ndogo ya Vihiga na kutana na familia ya Harun Ombayo. Tangu kudhibitisha kufariki dunia kwa wajukuu wake 5, huku wanawe 2 wakiendelea kuzuiliwa pamoja na mhubiri mwenye utata Paul Mackenzie, familia hii inakiri kupitia wakati mgumu.
Sasa inatuadhiri sana, kwa maana ukiona hata ukitaka kulala ulali, hata ukisinzia kidogo ukiamuka unarudi kufikiria kabisa ni nini hii inatendeka.
Kitu kikifanyika na ukimalize unasikia umeridhika. Sasa hiyo mawazo ni mingi, kwa sababu hawa tunasikia watoto wamekufa, tujazika, wazazi wao wenyewe tena wako ndani.
Kinachosikitisha zaidi kwa familia hii ni hali ya unyanyapaa wanaokumbana nao kutoka kwa wanajamii. Maafa yaliyotokea kwenye msitu wa Shakahola wanasema kuwa yamebadilisha maisha yao na kuwafanya kuwa kama kisiwa baharini.
Sijapata usaidizi wowote ama mtu hata akija hapa kwangu kunitembelea hapa nyumbani, kwa maana sasa naambiwa ya kwamba ama tunaambiwa ya kwamba sisi ni watu wa Shakahola ambao watu tuliua watu wetu na tukapata pesa nyingi. Hakuna mtu anaingia hapa.
Hata kazi wenye wanafanyanga kazi, kupata kazi ni ngumu. Mtu hawezi kufanikiwa. Bora wanimejua hawa ni wa Shakahola. Unajua hapa sasa ni Shakahola. Tunaomba tu kama serikali anaweza kuona hiyo mzigo, atusaidie. Atusaidie kwa njia gani? Hawa watoto wafike, tuzike tu ni wapendwa wetu, kwa sababu watoto hawana hatia.
Licha ya serikali kuziruhusu familia zilizoathirika kuichukua miili ya wapendwa wao na hata kugharamia mazishi, familia ya mzee Harun haijui ni vipi itakavyofika katika kaunti ya Kilifi kuichukua miili ya wanao watano ili kuizika nyumbani.
Sasa mimi naomba haswa president na mtu yeyote yule ambaye anaweza kunisaidia ili nifike huku vile serikali inasema, tupate hizi mili na tuje kuzijika hapa.
Kwa sasa mzee Harun anatoa wito kwa serikali kuimarisha msaada wake kwa waathiriwa wa maafa wa msitu wa Shakahola, mbali na kugharimia tu mazishi ya walioaga. Familia hii ikiwa moja tu kati ya zile ambazo zinazidi kupambana na machungu ya maafa hayo yaliyosababisha vifo vya watu wanaozidi 400.
Tunashindwa na wao wenye wamewekwa korokoroni. Itakuwaje? Hiyo yote ni maswali tunajiuliza na hakuna mwenye anaweza kukujibu. Sasa imebaki unajiuliza mwenyewe na unanyamaza.
Arnold Adidi, TV47, County ya Vihiga.
Michezo inaletwa kwako na Safaricom. Chapa dimba.
Moja kwa moja michezoni ni kwa timu mbili zitakazoibuka na ushindi kwenye mashindano ya kitaifa ya dimba la Europa Day zitasafiri nchini Romania. Timu hizo za wasichana na wavulana wasiozidi umri wa miaka 18 zitacheza dhidi ya timu za taifa chipukizi za Romania. Hii ni kulingana na balozi wa ujumbe wa Umoja wa Ulaya nchini aliyekuwa akizungumza baada ya dimba hili kufanyika katika kaunti ya Homa Bay wikendi iliyopita. Tony Kwalanda na mengi zaidi.
Timu ya wasichana ya Kobala na kikosi cha wavulana cha Ringa zitawania tiketi ya kuelekea Romania baada ya kufuzu kwa fainali za kitaifa za dimba la Europe Day. Kobala itawakilisha kaunti ya Homa Bay katika michuano ya kitaifa itakayoandaliwa ugani Ulinzi tarehe 17 mwezi Mei. Mabingwa hawa wa zamani wa Nyanza waliwacharaza Ogande 1-0 katika fainali za kaunti ya Homa Bay zilizofanyika ugani Raila Odinga weekend iliyopita.
Kwenda Nairobi itatusaidia kuna those best players wenye wanacheza vizuri kwa pitch na wale wenye wako perfect kwenda national team, na pia inatusaidia kunurture our talents.
Their performance in the class is just up to date. When they come into the field, they try to
transfer what they do in the classes back into the field, and that gives us the advantage over other teams.
Wakati huo huo, shule ya upili ya wavulana ya Ringa ilijikatia tiketi baada ya kuibandua Oriwo 1-0.
European Union tournament, it has supported our talent because we have managed to play with different teams, and I think right here we were having some scouts.
It has given us a very good opportunity to now bring the boys to expose themselves, to meet other worthy opponents, to now build on their game.
Raundi ya 3 ya dimba la Europe Day itaandaliwa katika kaunti ya Kilifi tarehe 4 na tarehe 5 mwezi Mei, kabla ya kuelekea kaunti ya Nairobi tarehe 11 na tarehe 12 mwezi Mei.
We want to make this a standard feature in the sports agenda of Kenya. I just need to find the money so we can extend it to all 47 counties.
And this is not just a football tournament. I think it really is showing our young people, our young boys and girls, what the possibilities are. You know, what is open for them. They are just not local here in Homa Bay. There are possibilities all the way to Nairobi, but there are also possibilities all the way to Europe.
Michuano hii inafanyika wakati mataifa mawili ya Europa yatakuwa wenyeji wa michezo ya Olimpiki na dimba la Euro nchini Ujerumani na Ufaransa mtawalia. Tony Kwalanda, TV47 Michezo.
Michezo inaletwa kwako na Safaricom. Chapa dimba.